Green Bay Packers, 1961 to 1967, the dynasty that defined what winning means in the NFL. Before Vince Lombardi arrived in Green Bay in 1959, the Packers were a struggling franchise in the league's smallest market. By the time he left 9 years later, they were the greatest dynasty in NFL history. The Packers won 5 NFL championships in a 7-year span, including the first 2 Super Bowls. They dominated with a simple but nearly unstoppable offense built around the power sweep, and a suffocating defense led by Hall of Famers Willie Davis, Herb Adderley, and Ray Nitschke. What made this dynasty rise was Lombardi's revolutionary approach to coaching. He emphasized conditioning, discipline, and perfect execution over complex strategy. As he famously said, "We're going to run the power sweep, and we'll run it until we get it right, and then we'll run it until you can't stop it." His practices were famously brutal, with players running the same plays repeatedly until they could execute them in their sleep. The results were undeniable: a 9-1 playoff record, and a level of dominance that led to the Super Bowl trophy being named after Lombardi. The dynasty's most iconic moment came in the 1967 NFL Championship, the famous Ice Bowl, when Bart Starr scored on a quarterback sneak in -15-degree temperatures to beat Dallas. What caused this dynasty to fall? Lombardi's departure after Super Bowl II was the primary factor. He stepped down as head coach in 1968, and the team's aging core couldn't maintain their dominance without his leadership. By 1968, stars like Jim Taylor and Paul Hornung were gone, and quarterback Bart Starr was in decline. The Packers wouldn't return to the Super Bowl for 29 years. As Hall of Fame defensive end Willie Davis put it, when Lombardi left, something left with him. The standard, the expectation, the fear, it all went with him. Pittsburgh Steelers, 1974 to 1979, the dynasty that defined physical football. Before 1972, the Pittsburgh Steelers had never won a playoff game. By 1980, they had 4 Super Bowl trophies. The 1970s, Steelers weren't just successful, they were revolutionary, combining a suffocating defense with a punishing running game and timely passing. What made this dynasty rise was the greatest draft class in NFL history. In 1974, the Steelers selected 4 future Hall of Famers: Lynn Swann, Jack Lambert, John Stallworth, and Mike Webster. They joined a roster that already included Hall of Famers Joe Green, Terry Bradshaw, Franco Harris, and Mel Blount. Head coach Chuck Noll built a team that perfectly embodied the blue-collar identity of Pittsburgh itself: tough, physical, and relentless. The Steel Curtain defense, led by Green, Lambert, Jack Ham, and L.C. Greenwood, redefined defensive dominance, while the offense evolved from run-heavy to balanced as Bradshaw developed into a Hall of Fame quarterback. The dynasty's most iconic moment came in Super Bowl X, when Lynn Swann made his famous leaping catch against the Cowboys, cementing his legacy with 161 receiving yards and the Super Bowl MVP. What caused this dynasty to fall? Age and the toll of physical football. By 1980, the core that had won 4 Super Bowls was breaking down. Green and Blount were in their 30s, Harris was slowing down, and Bradshaw was battling injuries. The Steelers went 9-7 in 1980, missing the playoffs for the first time since 1971. They would make the playoffs in 1982 and 1983, but never reached another Super Bowl with their 1970s core. As Chuck Noll said, "We didn't decline, we got old." There's a difference. By the way, I'm going to be posting a lot here, so it would mean a lot if you subscribed and dropped a like for the algorithm. San Francisco 49ers, 1981 to 1994, the dynasty that redefined offensive football. When Bill Walsh took over the 49ers in 1979, they were coming off a 2-14 season. Within 2 years, they were Super Bowl champions. Over the next 14 years, they would win 5 Super Bowls and revolutionize offensive football with the West Coast offense. What made this dynasty rise was innovation and succession planning. Walsh's West Coast offense, built around short, high-percentage passes, was a radical departure from conventional football wisdom. He found the perfect quarterback to run it in Joe Montana, whose accuracy and decision-making were ideal for the system. The 49ers built through the draft, finding stars like Jerry Rice, Ronnie Lott, and Roger Craig, while making shrewd trades for players like Fred Dean. Most impressively, they maintained excellence through quarterback transition, seamlessly moving from Montana to Steve Young without missing a beat. The dynasty's most iconic moment came in Super Bowl 23, when Montana led a 92-yard drive in the final minutes, capped by a touchdown pass to John Taylor with 34 seconds left to beat the Bengals. Before the drive, Montana famously pointed out comedian John Candy in the crowd to relax his teammates. What caused this dynasty to fall? The salary cap and front office changes. The NFL introduced the salary cap in 1994, making it impossible to keep all their stars together. After winning Super Bowl 29, the 49ers began to decline as they struggled to manage the cap while maintaining their talent level. The departure of key front office personnel, including Carmen Policy, and Eddie DeBartolo Jr., who lost the team due to legal issues, accelerated the fall. By 1999, the 49ers were 4-12, and the dynasty was officially over. As Steve Young later reflected, "We knew the salary cap would eventually catch up to us. We just tried to win as much as we could before it did." Dallas Cowboys, 1992 to 1995. The dynasty that combined talent with business savvy. In 1989, Jerry Jones bought the Cowboys and hired Jimmy Johnson as head coach. The team went 1-15 in their first season. Just 3 years later, they were Super Bowl champions, beginning a run of 3 championships in 4 years. What made this dynasty rise was the greatest trade in NFL history and brilliant drafting. The Cowboys traded running back Herschel Walker to the Vikings for a massive haul of draft picks, which they used to build the foundation of their dynasty. They drafted future Hall of Famers Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, and Michael Irvin, the famous triplets, and surrounded them with stars like Darren Woodson, Larry Allen, and Charles Haley. Johnson's defensive innovation, the small, fast defense, prioritized speed over size, and became the template for modern NFL defenses. The dynasty's most iconic moment came in Super Bowl 27, when they demolished the Buffalo Bills 52-17, forcing 9 turnovers in one of the most dominant Super Bowl performances ever. What caused this dynasty to fall? Ego and relationships. The partnership between Jones and Johnson collapsed after Super Bowl 28, with Jones famously declaring that 500 coaches could have won with this team. Johnson left, replaced by Barry Switzer, who won Super Bowl 30 with Johnson's roster, but couldn't maintain the dynasty. The salary cap also played a role, as the Cowboys struggled to keep their stars together while paying market rates. By 1997, the Cowboys were 6-10, and the dynasty was effectively over. As Troy Aikman later said, "We had the talent to win 5 or 6 Super Bowls. The fact that we won 3 is both a great accomplishment and a disappointment." New England Patriots, 2001 to 2019. The dynasty that defied the salary cap era. When Tom Brady replaced an injured Drew Bledsoe in 2001, few could have predicted the beginning of the greatest dynasty in NFL history. Over the next 19 years, the Patriots would reach 9 Super Bowls, winning 6 while never having a losing season. What made this dynasty rise was the perfect partnership between the greatest coach and greatest quarterback in NFL history. Bill Belichick's strategic genius and Brady's on-field excellence created a system that could adapt to any opponent or situation. The Patriots mastered the salary cap, consistently finding value in overlooked players and knowing when to move on from stars before they declined. They built through the draft and shrewd free agent signings, rarely overpaying for talent. Most impressively, they maintained excellence across multiple roster iterations. The 2001 Patriots and 2018 Patriots had completely different personnel, but the same results. The dynasty's most iconic moment came in Super Bowl 51, when they overcame a 28-3 deficit to beat the Falcons in overtime, the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history. What caused this dynasty to fall? Time and separation. After 20 years together, Brady left for Tampa Bay in 2020, and the Patriots immediately fell to 7-9. Their first losing season since 2000. While Belichick remains one of the NFL's best coaches, the loss of Brady exposed the challenges of winning without an elite quarterback. The Patriots' drafting also declined in their later years, leaving them without the young talent to replace aging stars. As Belichick himself said after Brady's departure, "Tom and I had a great relationship, but all good things must come to an end." 1990s Buffalo Bills, 1990 to 1993. A dynasty that never was. Not all dynasties are defined by championships. The 1990s Buffalo Bills reached 4 consecutive Super Bowls, an unprecedented feat that no team has matched before or since, yet they lost all 4, creating a legacy of both excellence and heartbreak. What made this almost dynasty rise was offensive innovation and exceptional talent. Head coach Marv Levy and quarterback Jim Kelly pioneered the K-gun offense, a no-huddle attack that revolutionized NFL offenses. The Bills had Hall of Famers at key positions: Kelly at quarterback, Thurman Thomas at running back, Bruce Smith on defense, and Andre Reed at receiver. They dominated the AFC, going 14-2 against playoff teams from 1990 to 1993. The team's most iconic moment should have been Scott Norwood's field goal attempt in Super Bowl 25, but wide right became the symbol of their heartbreak instead of their triumph. What prevented this dynasty from being completed? A combination of bad luck, the NFC's dominance, and key mistakes in big moments. The Bills lost their 4 Super Bowls by an average of 17 points, struggling against the more physical NFC teams. Thurman Thomas famously lost his helmet before Super Bowl 26, missing the first 2 plays. In Super Bowl 27, the Bills committed 9 turnovers. Despite these failures, the Bills' achievement of 4 straight conference championships remains one of the most impressive feats in NFL history. As Marv Levy later reflected, "You may not win a championship, but you're a champion." Their falls are equally instructive. No dynasty lasts forever, whether due to age, ego, the salary cap, or simply the toll of sustained excellence. The Packers fell when Lombardi left. The Steelers declined when their core aged. The 49ers couldn't overcome the salary cap. The Cowboys collapsed under the weight of ego and relationships. The Patriots finally succumbed to time and separation. And the Bills never completed their dynasty, despite coming agonizingly close. If you enjoyed this breakdown of NFL dynasties, hit that subscribe button for more NFL content. Drop a comment with your favorite dynasty or one you think I missed. Thanks for watching, and remember, dynasties may rise and fall, but their impact on football lasts forever.